Hi, this is Thomas George, and today I'm going to show you how to make a beat in Logic Pro 10. There are a few different ways and techniques to actually make a beat in Logic Pro 10. But I'm just going to show you the way that I like to use most often, and that is just building the different instruments and different blocks one at a time. I normally like to start with a drum beat. There are a few different ways you can do this. One is to play the whole drum kit in one go. If you've got good keyboard skills or if you're a drummer, I'd probably recommend this one. The other way is to actually play each drum part in separately. So for example, the kick drum, then the snare, then the hi-hats, and then the cymbals, for example. Or the third way is to draw in the drum parts. So you can go on the piano roll editor and draw in the parts manually. Oh, there is one more way actually, is to find an existing loop and edit that. Let's just go through these ways first of all, and then I'll show you other instruments to add on top. So the first way I said was to actually start with a drum kit and play it all in one go. This is probably the hardest way, but it's also the quickest way. Let's just close these now. Okay. Let's leave the tempo on 120 and leave the key signature on C major and the time signature on 4/4. Then when we hit record, a metronome will begin. If your metronome is not there, click on this arrow here and make sure the click is on. Let's hit record and I'll show you how I actually play the drum part in. I've got a MIDI controller plugged in, by the way, but if you don't have a MIDI controller, you can use something called musical typing. If you hit Command and K, this will bring this window up here, and these link up to the drum kit. So the C is the kick drum, the D is the snare, F sharp is the closed hi-hat, G sharp's another closed hi-hat, A sharp is open hi-hat, C sharp is a crash, and D sharp is a ride. We also get the toms, which go from F all the way to D. There are, of course, a lot more parts of the drum kit than this, but let's just use these for now. Okay, I just hit record. I'll play in a groove. This is just a really basic groove, but if you're not used to doing this, I'd spend a bit of time just going through the drum kit and trying to play it in manually. So yeah, it's really basic, but I think I played it pretty much in time, but we can tighten up the rhythms by quantizing, which basically just moves the MIDI information to the closest block, which makes it in time really. So to open this, to do this, let's open up Piano Roll Editor by selecting this bit of MIDI information and hitting Command and 4. This will bring up this Piano Roll Editor here. As you can see, it looks generally in time, but there are parts like this that are a bit out of time. So what we do is we hit Command and A, that selects all. Then we go over to time quantize here. And 1/16 is for 1/16 note, which is each one of these blocks. If we hit this arrow here, it goes to all different time measures. So this is a quaver, a crotchet, but let's just leave it on 16ths. And have a listen back. It's pretty much done it. At the end, there was a few mistakes. Let's just tighten this up. That's the thing with quantizing. It doesn't solve everything. Unless you play it really, really close to perfect, you do have to manually go in, just tidy a few things up. So let's just tidy this up. So it's the 1 and the 3 for the hi-hats on the blocks. And move that there. That looks about right. Let's have a listen to the ending. Maybe move this over. And have a listen to the ending again. There we go. So there's the one technique for creating a drum groove. Let's move this block over here, save it for now. And to mute it, we can go over to here and change the right click button to M, then hit Command and click, and there we go, it's muted. The other way I said is to play each part in individually. So we could start with the kick. So if you have a kick drum rhythm in mind, you can just play just the kick in. So let's do this. Okay, let's just quantize this again by hitting Command 4 and then Command A to select all and move this over to 1/16. Hit the Q button. Let's have a quick look. It looks all in time to me. Let's have a quick listen. The ending isn't quite right. Something like that. Now let's select a new drum kit. Let's duplicate this track by hitting this button here. And now let's add in a snare. Okay, open up musical typing so you can see what I'm playing. Then let's hit R for record and whack in a snare. That kind of thing. Obviously, the ending wasn't quite right, so let's just select the first part, dragging this over. We can duplicate by holding down Alt and clicking over. So the snare wasn't quite in time, so let's delete this one. Open this up, Command 4. Apple A to select all, Q to quantize. Drag it over again with Alt. Okay, then we can add the hi-hats, but I think you get the idea of this. The other way is to actually draw in the MIDI parts. So what we can do is open up that piano roll editor again with Apple Alt Command and 4. And it brings this up. So this links up to the keyboard, so you can see that C1 is the kick drum. So if we change the right click tool to the pencil, which is already on, we can draw in the parts. So you might want a snare on the third beat. So you can draw in a snare here. Let's have it on the fourth beat. And then move it up to here. And same here. Then it should have the kick drum. Bum, 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 ka, bum, 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 ka. It should play that rhythm. Let's have a listen. And then for ease, let's just have the hi-hats on every 16th beat. Every quarter note. Just like this. And the last one, let's have our open hi-hat. Oh, there we go. Just nice and simple. And then we can draw in the other hi-hat, just to kind of rock a little bit. Draw in, so it's every 8th note now. Let's have a listen to this. Really simple. And the other way is to actually get a loop and edit it. So if we hit this button here, this will bring up the loop library. And then we've actually got a search tool here. So let's just type in Motown, for example. See what comes up. So we've got ballad bass, drum set. We can actually narrow it down even more by going to all drums. Motown beat 1. Let's just hear this. The original tempo was meant to be 90 beats per minute, so it does sound quite fast at this tempo. Let's try this one. Okay, so we've dragged it to the project. Let's just hear it back. So these Apple loops, you can use them in any of your songs. They're not copyrighted, so you can actually use them just like this if you want. Or we can go and edit the drum part. Let's open up the piano roll editor again with Command and 4. And here we can see the drum part. Let's just get rid of a few of these snares. And move them around. And the same with the kick drums. We can also drag over this part by selecting all or dragging all and hitting Alt and just dragging over. Let's hear what this sounds like now. Yeah. So you can hear it sounds quite different already. Okay, let's just use this loop. We can drag it over by holding down Alt and dragging. And let's do it once more. So there is a drum groove that we're going to use for now. Now let's add a bass part. Plus button here. And go software instrument. And let's go to bass. So it's the same as before really. You can either play the part in live. Or we can find a loop and edit the loop, or draw in the part really. Let's just pick the first one, fingerstyle bass. Let's close this. And you can hear the bass. Open musical typing so you can see what I'm playing. Another thing you can do is to have a loop. So have this orange bar, this whatever in this orange bar will actually loop. Okay, let's set it up. Then just hit play for now. I like that, so I'm going to hit R for record and just record this part in. I actually changed that a little bit, but that was kind of the idea I had in my head. So to edit this, just to quantize it if you do want to make it in time. Obviously, if you want a more human, natural feel, maybe not quantize everything. But for this exercise, let's just quantize it. So Command and 4. Here we go. Command A. Hit Q button. Now it's all in perfect time. So the same that we did with the drums really, we can go through and we can actually draw in the parts. So we can add a new, so put the G there, see what this sounds like. So we can have something like that. Or alternatively, we can open up a loop. Let's try Motown again, hit reset. Type in Motown. And then let's just select bass and see what comes up. That sounds a bit more fun than what I had. Let's drag this over. And mute this one. And move the loop to here. Then let's open this up by hitting Command and 4. I think I just like the first half. Let's just loop the first half. So I can drag this to here and then Alt and click and select both, Alt and click again. There's a little groove going now. Move this loop over. If you want to know what notes are actually played, what you can do is you can open the score editor to see what notes, if you're used to reading, say, classical scores. So you can hit Command and 5. And this will open up the score editor. And if you don't read the bass clef, you can just select the note. So it's a C. And this one you can see is a G. And this one is an A. But the loops actually adapt to the key we're in. So the key's in C major. So all the loops are actually going to adapt to C major, which is really useful. Okay, so we've got the drums and the bass, which is kind of the backbone of the loop. Let's just add in a synth part. So we can go on the plus button here, software instrument. Let's go to Synthesizer, classics, and the top one, 80s fizzy synth. Okay. Let's make the octave higher. Let's open musical typing so you can see what I'm playing. That was actually the pitch bend I was playing on the MIDI keyboard. You can do this on musical typing too, or by hitting the keys 1 and 2 on your keyboard. Okay, so yeah, the same as before really. Either play it in live, which is what I like to do, but if you don't really have a keyboard background, you can either type it in or get a loop and adapt a loop, which is a great way too. Let's just do one more. I don't like any of that, so let's just delete that. I can put the octave up again and hit R for record. Yeah, definitely not that. I really don't like this instrument and what I was playing, so maybe let's just go to a loop again. If you can't think of something to play in, you can always go back to a loop. Let's just try Motown again and click off bass here, and then let's go on guitars. Let's see what guitar there is. And one technique you can use is you can actually play the loop and then you can click on one of these loops and it will play along with what you've got here. Now click the guitar part. This is so you can hear what it will sound like if you do choose it before you drag it over to your project, which is really handy. I don't like either of them, so we can click off guitar. We don't necessarily need Motown. Let's just put in synth. And let's try 80s dance bass synth 1. Okay. And then hit play. Then click on the synth. Let's just try this one. I can hear that some of the notes actually clash, but the first part with the C octaves actually sound nice, but then we go to a different note and I don't think it works. Let's just edit this. So let's keep it on the new synth. So I like the sound of that. We can delete the other stuff by just hitting backspace. Same here as well, backspace. There are regions in this track. Yep, delete. Same with here. Remember to keep your projects tidy. So it's a lot easier to deal with. Let's just open this by hitting Command and 4. Yep, you can see there are C octaves and then it goes to a B flat octave, which I don't really think works with the bass line, and then back to a C. So let's just keep the C really, so we can just drag this and move it up to the C. The same with the B flat. And then just have this groove going. Keep this going. So that's kind of a basic loop. What we can do is keep the drums going, then add in a different bass part. So we can move this bass here. Let's just edit this. So we can go to Apple or Command and 4. And let's move this C note down to a B flat. And this G, let's move, keep there, sorry, and this G, and then to an F. And then select this again. And drag it over with Alt click and get the original bass line again. And drag it over. Same with the bass part. Then drag it to here again. This time, let's just move this to a B flat. So it's really easy. Command A, select all, and drag the notes down until you see a B flat. Yeah, if you don't have much of a musical theoretical knowledge, I'd keep with the roots or octaves or fifths or the thirds, really. Just keep it nice and simple. So we don't get too confused, so we know which part we changed, because it does kind of look the same. You can slightly see on the MIDI information there. Let's just select all this and actually change the color. So we can use the shortcut Alt and C. And this will change the color. Let's just change it to yellow. Okay. So we've got the part here, which starts on the C. Then we've got a little bit here on the B flat. Let's just hear what the whole groove sounds like now. It's quite bassy, all this. I think we can add in a lead instrument now, just on top. So if you know a bit of musical theory, just keep with the roots, the thirds and the fifths. And the same with the B flat. Or just look up online the actual chords. So for a C major, which is the first part, it actually has, well, it consists of a C, an E, and a G. And for a B flat, it's B flat, D, and F. So if you're going to play a riff, maybe just keep with them for now. Let's just try a guitar, acoustic guitar, and just hear what that sounds like. Close this, neaten it up. Let's just hit record and just play something in. I didn't really like that, but for this exercise, let's play that in. I'm going to lower the octave a bit because I think this is a bit too high sounding, so we can... There we go. Sounds a bit nicer. And hit record. Just going to use the root, the third, and the fifth. Something like that. I do think the synth is a little loud, so let's just lower that down quite a lot. The volume here. And the guitar part, I don't really like either. I think I was right with the original octave. Let's play it in again. Something like that, really. It's just a really basic loop I've just made. You might want to change the instruments because the acoustic guitar I don't really think works for this. So we can always go to the library and change this to, say, a synthesizer. Let's try classics again and choose one of these. FM piano. Let's see what this sounds like. Okay, yeah, it's just a basic loop I've already made. Obviously, I'd probably change this completely if there's one of my own songs. I wouldn't really have this style, to be honest. But there's little things you can do as well. So if we open up the mixer, you can hit Command and 2 if you want it in a new window, or this little button here. Let's just open this button here. If we scroll up, we can see the volume levels here, the panning, so we can have it left or right or central. Then also the effects. You can see this FM piano has got loads of different effects, so we can go through and edit these, but that is for a different video. So that's just basically how I create a loop on Logic Pro 10. The 3 methods: 1 is play it in live, 2 is to type it in, or 3 is to actually get a loop and just drag the loop over and edit the loop. Thanks for watching. If you've got any comments, please leave them below. If you did like this video, please like it. And if you want to see more videos like this, remember to subscribe to my channel.